some people go in and come out different. So that's something that makes people don't want to go in. What was the craziest change that you saw? I don't know if you've seen a man come in a certain way, then once he got there, he just turned into something else.
I know I've seen it.
Yeah, you talk inside the system.
Inside the system, yeah.
I mean, I've had brothers, like one brother in particular that to this day he lost his mind in there, in that way. You know, I've seen brothers change in multiple ways, but whenever you sitting there, you breaking bread with an individual, you working out in a yard with an individual, you know, and then you wake up the next day and you go to holler at your homeboy and he's drooling on himself, and you gotta make sure you and the homie's pulling his pants up because he done lost his mind. You know, we done seen that. You know, I done had partners that walk down the majority of their bid, over half of it, and then go to the hole and never come out the hole. You know, went ahead and just hung it up. So I've seen people lose it and snap that way. And then, man, I seen a whole bunch of people, like where I did my time in Commonwealth of Virginia. I just came from a banquet league, the League for Safer Streets, and there was probably like at least 300 people in there, close to 200 returning citizens, quote unquote, people that did time, and a lot of people successful on a high level. You know? So I've seen it, you know, on both spectrums. Yeah.
So I know he probably talking about, you know, men going as men and come out as women.
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah.
cold-blooded men.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I had a homie named QB that stood for quick body because, you know, he was out here, you know, he liked to kill. His name is still QB, but it's Queen B now. It's not for quick body.
Yeah.
He up there and he wearing the skirts and the eyebrows, and this what
crazy.
it do to a lot of dudes, man.
So hold on, I'm sorry. You said his name was Quick. His name was QB for quick body, meaning out on the streets that he would kill
fast.
And now he's up. It's QB. It does Queen B now.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that happens in there.
Yes.
We're gonna be. I mean, my take on that is it's just like the streets. But I mean, in there, I guess maybe you see it more.
Do you think that a person? I saw something. They said that a person who transitions to being a homosexual in prison, mean that's who they was before they went in there.
You know what?
I don't know about that, man. I like that, because I think you could get turned out. I don't think you know. I don't know. Let Chris answer that, because he might got a better understanding than I do. But I don't think that you probably was gay from the drive.
Yeah. So I don't know. I can't speak directly to that, but I can only assume prison is a lonely place. Everybody can't do 10 years, 15 years without attention or affection or interaction on some level. You got that. You've got people getting turned out. Addiction is real. Debt is real.
Yep.
You got the food chain in there. Like, there's just some straight up predators in there, and there's some straight up prey, and it's messed up. You know, but there's some guys that it's not even their choice. It just,
that's the way they went.
And when you're in an environment like prison, you know, sexual assault occurs, right? Or whatever trauma, similar to what 1 out of every 3 young men get sexually assaulted. So if we know that, and then we put that number in prison and they come out, I mean, at times there's going to be some shifts in the individual's mentality. And of course, there's some people that are already that way.
A lot of y'all young guys are, you know, going to prison. And y'all about to be 120 pounds out here getting high on the streets, not working out.
Yeah.
You know, and then you go upstate or to the feds, wherever you go at, and these men have been up there for 10 years doing burpees, pull-ups, push-ups, strong, and they may be attracted to you. You know, it's real.
Yeah, they had some, I call them snatchers or whatever, but they had
snatchers.
Yeah, snatchers. That's what I call them.
Yeah. Snatcher. What's that mean?
They were the dudes that you knew they were snatching people up in the cells. You know, and not everybody was. Yo, it's so crazy. Prison is an abnormal place, and it's different in every state, federal, and all that. But yo, I knew some snatchers that was respected.
I know a lot that's respected. A lot. Matter of fact,
a snatcher.
I think everybody I know
because you walking by the cell, you get snatched in there.
Yeah, don't nobody get in them dudes' business.
No,
Them dudes is running around and they taking butt and they on ass and they doing what they doing.
So weird.
It sounds crazy for me to say this, but they still carry it on man conduct. Like they might not offer me and Chris, some dingaling or something like that because they know we ain't going for it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm not in his business either. Talking about, boy, you was over there. I'm respecting him like a cold-blooded man.
Because you in that environment.
Exactly. It is, it's sad to say, in there it's acceptable. This is a way of life. Like I done walked the track and my man had to check me heckling, coming in on my bed, and I'm seeing two men laid up and one feeding his partner fruit or whatever on the grass, and they got their towels out, and I'm snickering. And my man telling me, yo, mind your business before he look over here and ask you what you want to massage him to.
Or try to kill you.
Exactly. One or the other. So it's something that you have to conform to in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. And then just being in there, right? It's being in prison and the family aspect. That's another thing that can, like, you lose your loved ones. Like he always talk about your girl, leave. How was that for you? Like, did your loved ones, did everybody disappear, or was someone that stayed true?
Everybody was gone but my mother.
Mom always be the one, man.
Shout out to moms.
Shout out to moms.
Yeah, moved her down there with me to the A.
Heavy, Mom. Heavy shout out to you, Mom.
Yeah. During a portion of my bid, I dated a staff worker for like 6 years. So shout out to Asia too, still a friend of mine. And then I had my wife at the end. I met her.
That's what's up.
Yeah, but outside of that, no.
How does that work though? Like, no, I'm not trying to get you in any trouble or anything, but
no, you good.
But a staff worker, like, this is a prison guard.
She was a kitchen supervisor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh wow. How does that work though? Like,
human nature is human nature.
Especially if you work down there with her.
Yeah, and staff. So where I was at, staff dining, there's no cameras in staff dining, but it's not about that. But it just means you got more opportunity to have a conversation.
Mm-hmm. We call that the OM, Officers Lounge.
Yeah, and then if you're in there, that means you probably got some clout on the compound.
Mm-hmm.
So they already know from the officer side, if they working down here, they must be about something. And then the only other dude that worked in there, that was my partner. So we were able to, form a relationship through conversation, interaction. But when those women come in there, and we're in there, it's probably like a grocery store for them.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely a grocery store for them.
Yeah, they probably, but we just struck it. We crossed paths and we got the building, and that was it, man. 6 years strong. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now that helped you bid, I'm assuming. Or did it make it worse? Like,
it made it work, and not to her. Shout out to her for real. But being in a relationship in prison isn't easy. Not if you really care. Yeah. Like if you just playing games and you trying to pass the bid, get money, go to visit.
Yeah, that's easy.
That's easy. But if you really care about these people, you don't want nothing and you on the inside, you stressing. The phones. I was fortunate enough on every block I was in, I had a phone, but that's stressful. Just holding a phone in the block. It's a lot more that goes into being in a relationship, because prior to that, I was able to just focus on the prison and doing my time and staying safe. But now I was distracted because I was constantly all day, every day thinking about the outside world.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you a question. Do you have any siblings?
It's crazy. I got two sisters. I was adopted. I've got two sisters that are older than me growing up. And then when I was 36, my wife found my biological family. So I'm the oldest of now 6 biological. Wow. Yeah, it's crazy.
So you got 6. Hey, and how was that for you though, to meet them and talk to them? How was that?
Man, so like I met my wife when I was in the system, and we knew we were gonna end up getting married. We were tight, but one of the things she wanted me to meet my family if we could. She did what she did. She found them. In full transparency, it didn't change me one way or the other, man. And I know sometimes people may not want to hear that if you're adopted and you haven't been with, but I had a mother and a father that adopted me when I was a baby, and man, they love me, like no other. So
you already had that.
Yeah.
Love. Just these are just y'all really my real family, but
yeah,
this bond over here is
they
did time with me in prison, so it was like man, that's the hardest.
Yeah, and then, at the same time, and for my parents, I didn't really feel nothing, and it's it is what it is. But for my siblings, I was grateful. When I found my sister and all that, you know what I'm saying? So my nieces, my nephews, my brothers, all that. Yeah.
Mm. So, meeting them for the first time, like, and meeting them, and did you ask them what was the reason why they put you up for adoption?
No question.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, because that was part of the trauma that probably haunted me growing up. That was part of the anger. That was part of the, because I knew I was adopted since 8. That was part of me always feeling like I was out of place, didn't really belong. That was part of the frustration. So, yeah, immediately. But my mother had me when she was young. Biological mother had me when she was 17. Got pregnant by an older man.
Mm.
Parents weren't with it. They gave me up, but then my mother and biological father ended up having my little brother like a year later. They kept him.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Hey, look. So, all right, let's get back to so your biological parents, they had you. She was young, had you.
Yeah.
Gave you up for adoption. Then had another sibling.
Yeah.
What was that conversation like? What was it? Was it an emotional conversation, or was it?
Yeah. This was the basis of me never trusting anybody, anything. Because for me, if my mother gave me up for adoption and could, in my mind, leave me, anybody could.
Mm.
So that was really haunting me through life, and that was my question. I'm like, why didn't you fight harder? Because I'm getting ready to be, me and my wife, we're getting ready to have our first child.
Oh, congrats.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
What you have? You know what you having already?
Little boy, December 11th, man.
That's what's up, man.
I'm about to cry right now thinking about it.
Yeah.
But in my mind, like, there's no situation that I could, fathom in my mind that I would
Leave him.
Yeah, but I understand why some parents do. Maybe they're not equipped, they're not ready, etc. And I ended up, like I said, with a loving family at the end of the day. So
I like to sit up here and tell the story about my mom because, me, I'm the same way. My mom gave me up 2 different times, once at 2 and again at 7. But this was back in the 80s when I was growing up. And it ain't no but because, a parent is supposed to be a parent.
Right.
But, my mom was on drugs, man. She was on drugs at an alarming rate. She would leave for days. Me and my sister would just be there. We was young. And that's a traumatizing experience, man. Granted, now my mom has been clean for years straight. You know what I mean? She take care of my son better than I can take care of him. Yeah. She's trying to give back through him, and I respect it.
That's a blessing, though.
She was dealing with a demon. 80s was the crack, man.
Addiction is a disease too, man.
Man, and that caused her to make a lot of wrong decisions that had a trickling effect. Because by her abandoning us, that put me through a. I gotta think I gotta look out for my sister. So now I'm like the head of the household now. I'm at a young age on it, so I'm stealing out the stores raw bacon and bologna and just to eat at night. So I understand exactly where you're coming from, bro. Yeah, exactly.
All of us got similar stories. My mother she was on drugs too in the 80s, but we ended up going to stay with my grandmother who basically adopted us, took care of us for some time until my father got himself together. But my mom has been clean now for about 16, 17 years, and she's
same as mine.
Shout out to moms. Shout out to all the moms around the world who
moms, man.
Yeah, because we, you just never know, what you're going to go through because it's not. I don't want to say it's their fault because just like you said, it's like the chips are sometimes stacked against us because this stuff is pumped into our communities and so much stuff is pumped into the communities, and these kids are, finding themselves going to prison, finding themselves in repeating the cycle, drugs and so forth and so on. So, we gotta, acknowledge the fact that they're human and they just fell short.
Yeah, moms, that's their first time living too. We gotta give moms grace too, man.
And a lot of them had broken homes and things of that nature too. So, we gotta give them a pass. Now, let me rewind a little bit. Prison, you go through all the prisons. I think he got this thing he always asks about the lock in the sock or the knife.
Let me ask you, because he don't know how to present it right. He do, but
got you.
And I'm quite sure. Let me ask you: have you seen someone ever get locked in sock?
No question.
Have you ever seen someone get stabbed?
No question.
From your point of view, if you was the one arguing with the person, what would you rather take? Like, meaning, like I'm not saying you took it or anything, but if you had to get into an altercation with somebody, would you rather him come at you with that knife or with that lock and sock?
Depends who I'm arguing with and who's holding that weapon. But If it was just a random, I don't want that lock in the sock.
So
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie.
that lock and sock bad,
Yeah, the lock in
man.
the sock. Yeah. We used to do the belt in the sock.
See,
The belt in the lock.
because it ain't coming off.
Yeah, you tie it in, you good.
Man, that joint has made people. That's a rehabilitation by itself.
Yeah, I knew a few people that are rehabilitated to this day, man.
Man, that will make you forget your name and start. Listen,
Yeah.
that lock and sock.
Yeah.
Again, we're not promoting this. We're not glorifying it. This is something that this is a fact.
I'm gonna tell you one that was worse though, where we was at.
The hot water.
Well, the hot water and the grease was bad too.
Yeah.
But we had an issue at one time. Guys was getting their hand on the plexiglass.
Oh my! They the best knives. They go through metal detectors and everything.
And once it go in, they break.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Don't
go to prison.
Please
Straight.
don't.
Don't go to
Wow. So
go to prison.
should it go